I was with from my phone because I did it with my phone hours ago, 2 hours ago, in fact. I'll send it again.
So it's on the stream.
Yeah, I'll send it again. I even sent it to the assignment desk.
Do they know it's on the stream and not in FileZilla?
Okay, I'm gonna get out of this shot. Okay, I'm gonna send it again. This is crazy though. I'm gonna dial off and send it again to everybody. I don't get that. Why wouldn't they have called me like they do that now?
You're broadcasting live, by the way. Okay.
Maybe there's something with the signal.
So, the airdrops have been taking place. There.
See if it's sent now.
There. No sign of him.
It's definitely there. I've sent it several times.
I can look on my phone.
No, I saw it. I just sent it like 3 times. Okay. Let's try this again.
I actually don't see it. Does it post on your phone? Does it mean it posts to everywhere else?
Really?
Yeah.
Look. That's it today. That's her. 3
No, I know.
times. So it's there.
Well, you know you got your MiFi on. Maybe that, if it's taking up too much of
So what does that mean, my
your
MiFi?
hotspot, I mean.
Oh, I do?
Or that's a phone call.
Okay.
One of the two.
Well, I'll turn off, make sure my hotspot's off. I'll turn that off. I don't need a hotspot. Okay. Thanks. That's good.
Then try it.
advice.
I see it now.
Okay. A while ago. Maybe they just didn't understand what it was, but I sent it to the assignment desk. I always send a book. If you're just joining us on Periscope or YouTube, I'm Tracy Lair, and we're trying to wait for some DC-10 or an MD-87. Those are air tankers that are dropping Phos-Chek on the Whittier Fire. And I'm also waiting for my producer to give me the go-ahead to show some of the video of an earlier drop and also some reaction to the drops. But we are high above San Marcos Road. We saw some people watching the fire off Winchester Canyon. And all this is the western flank of the Whittier Fire, just across there. And you can see the smoke going straight up, which is actually a good sign right now. They don't want it running down that hill.
I hear them.
We hear planes that are picking up Phos-Chek, a retardant, over in Santa Maria, which as a bird flies is probably like 40 miles. And we are just waiting to see if they'll make another round. But when they do drop, it's quite a sight to see. They leave sort of a red mark, and you can see it below one of the hot spots that looks like that must have been dropped earlier this afternoon.
I can push it if you want.
Yeah, let's show what that looks like, because I was mixed. Beth, we got word that they were going to do an aerial assault on the western flank, so we drove through Goleta, saw a lot of people watching airdrops from Winchester Canyon, and we're high above San Marcos, looking just over the canyon. And what people are seeing are air tankers, including a DC-10, along the fire lines, and sometimes you mix it up for what looks like flames. But these planes have been coming around pretty much like clockwork every like 20 or 30 minutes or so, because they do have to drop, or they do have to fly to Santa Maria and back. And some of them were flying for the Alamo fire up there, but they're here now because this is one of the higher priority fires in the state, and they just want to get a handle on it. There's about 1,100 firefighters working this fire, and many of them are now flying air crews of these air tankers. One of the air tankers is out of Ventura County, but 2 of them a DC-10 and an MD-80 were making drops earlier, and it was quite a sight to see. We talked to some folks saying how great it looks on TV, but they said there was nothing like it in person. However, they said at times it is scary to see because it makes you realize just how close the Whittier Fire is to people who live in Goleta, and that's why they're really bracing for another night of firefighting, because it's only about 48% contained, and they just want to get full containment before anyone starts to relax. Reporting live in Santa Barbara County, Tracy Lair, News Channel 3. With us on Periscope or on YouTube, we are just hoping to show you some of the aerial fight. We haven't seen a plane in about 15 minutes, but there's different kinds of planes flying through. All yesterday we were seeing helicopters dropping water, but today it's been a whole lot of Phos-Chek from air tankers, and you can see the flare-ups in that canyon on the other side. These are areas high above Kachuma Lake, and we were over by the lake yesterday, and it just looks like ash all along that mountain range. And you can also see, I think that's Broadcast Peak. Is that right at the very top to the left? That's an area that they have been watching and protecting. And we also saw PG&E out there yesterday. They say at least 30 power poles were burned. They're done for the day, but they are hoping to take those power poles out, and they landline people in there to survey the damage, and then they'll be putting those power poles back in. At least that's what the PG&E spokesman told me today, that they were done for the day and will go at it again tomorrow. There's also going to be a update news conference tomorrow at 2 p.m., and we'll be carrying that live on KUYT.com and our other sister stations. But it really just looks like a big ridge line of ash along West Camino Cielo. If you're just looking at those hot spots, we are thinking that there might be another aerial drop coming up. I'm going to just quiet down so you can maybe listen and see if we can hear some planes.
Don't see anything on the horizon.
I don't either.
When that DC-10 comes by, you can't.
You can hear it.
Yeah.
But it does seem to come from that direction, right?
No, it comes from the Santa Maria's to the north of us, the northwest.
Okay.
So it's going to come from that direction.
And work its way over.
And it'll circle around, get its bearings, probably follow a lead plane in, and then drop its load.
I think because of this aerial assault, they might have released some fire engines. I saw a bunch going south on the 101, or they're just rotating out crews, because they have crews from Santa Paula, Oxnard, LA, Orange, San Diego. I even saw a truck with Newport Beach on it as well. Oh, now I'm hearing something. Do you hear a plane?
Well, the spotter plane, or the lead plane, is still circling around up there, so I'm assuming that because it's still surveying the area, that the big fixed-wing planes will be coming back pretty soon. The way it works is it circles around, it picks a spot that it wants to lay a retardant, or wants to lay a line of retardant down, and then it'll come in and it'll puff out a white smoke where it wants the plane that's following to drop.
So the lead plane does that, and then the air tanker does the red.
It drops right where that white puff of smoke is. And
now
works pretty good.
I'm hearing a train now,
yeah,
not an
kinds
airplane.
Of activity out here.
I expected them to have some more planes flying because it's not even close to sunset, and they do have all that daylight
like
hours.
4 at one point, but at this point it looks like there's just 2 to 3. I saw 3 at one point.
And I heard
that may mean that the third plane is maybe getting its Phos-Chek from maybe someplace a little farther away. I'm not sure.
like down at Naval Base Ventura County, possibly.
Could be.
There is a concern about the weather, and I heard Alan Rose from News Channel 3 say that they didn't expect sundowners tonight, but tomorrow. So these Phos-Chek drops could protect from that. But you can tell they're right below those hot spots on that pinkish color underneath where the smoke is going up.
They're laying it down pretty thick because of the weather pattern that's developing, and it'll come in tomorrow, I think, in the evening. So
one thing you do notice if you haven't been out here is how green it looks. For 6 years of drought, it was so brown, and just in the area where the fire, there's a lot of grasses, which actually moves the fire really quickly. And then down below, there's trees that haven't seen water in a long time. That's why the fire danger was so high. In fact, on July 8th on that Saturday and had to leave everything behind. They're picking people up at the Park and Ride, which is off the 246 as if you're driving to Los Olivos on the way to Buellton. And they will be escorting folks in twice a day. And you can sign up at Kachuma Evacuation at sbparks.org. You can find that information on our website at keyt.com as well. But it really was like a ghost town yesterday. And now, one of the reasons all these roads are closed is to let the fire trucks in and out. But we are just hearing about this aerial assault, and there is a bit of a calm before they come through because they have to fly so far to get the FOSS check back in those air tankers. I went online and looked up the DC-10 and also the MD-87, and those are really well-known planes for firefighting. They can carry a whole lot of FOSS check, and they're contracted out, and the pilots have been fighting fires all summer. And if you do see the ones that are flying, one of them says 10 tanker air carrier on the side, and it sort of has an orange bottom. There is also an air tanker from the U.S. Air Force that has a number 6, and it's a gray tanker. And then there's and some look like the kind of planes you might to go to, but firefighting. I can tell you the latest on this fire is that 12,263 acres have burned. Containment is at 8%, and that fire started Saturday around 2 o'clock near Whittier Campground. No cause yet. It has threatened structures. It's burned about 8 residences and a dozen outbuildings. Injuries are at 0, except there were some minor injuries, we were told. Approximately 3,500 animals are sheltered, some horses, some cats, some dogs, and the personnel assigned to this fire is just over 1,100. And again, some of those are in the air units. This fire. I was hoping to show you a live look. Some of the, but not in luck just yet. When we drove up this way, though, you certainly could see like 5 red spots. Really lost check. And then it sort of faded out. But bad it is as it gets nighttime. We were just looking at the ashes all over our cars, our satellite, anything you put down, you can really tell that there's a bit of ash in the air. I'm getting an Alamo fire update near Santa Maria. I can tell you if you're thinking about that fire. The latest on that is, wow, close to 20,000 acres. That's 8,926. We just got an email on that, and it is 85% contained, and there are 1,800 fires on that, with 100 and is it 130? Sorry, that's over this way, but they don't exactly tell us where they're going. We were told by Mike Eliason, who's been photographing them off of West Camino Cielo, what kind of air tankers they are. And he said he was having trouble getting photos because they were going right into the smoke because they are just right on it, and he was on the ridge. Whereas we thought we'd get out of the smoke and try to show you this visual because it's a really nice look at just how far on the ridgeline the fire burned. It's just gray all along the ridgeline, and then down below you see all the greenery from the rains from the winter that could burn if the winds change, and they want to prevent that by containing it before that happens, especially because it's so close to Goleta, making it I think a tier 2 or top priority fire for firefighting in the state. Still don't hear any planes though. A lot of people were wondering how this fire, the Whittier Fire, started, and they have not said the cause yet, but we do know that we did see a police car that burned when the police car pulled over to help another Jeep that burned, but that seemed to be way after the fire had started. And then they went and evacuated kids from a St. Vincent de Paul camp called Circle V, like Vincent. That was the second session of that summer camp, and they have now canceled all of those sessions. And there was a boy named Finn McWeeny who talked about them driving out with fire on both sides of the 154 and how dramatic that was. And they were really grateful to the firefighters. And that was quite a rescue. The firefighters did say in a press conference that they were trapped and that they just had to wait till the fire went around them. But that is just on the other side of that ridge there, just across from the lake, Cachuma Lake in Santa Barbara County. And if you're just joining us on Periscope or YouTube, you're looking at the flare-ups from the Whittier Fire that started July 8th at 2 o'clock-ish, and that is why the 154 is closed unless you have an escort through there, and there are some other canyon closures as well. I think I'm hearing something. I just don't know if it's a plane. But the big deal today was that how many fixed-wing air tankers flew today, including a DC-10 and an MD-87. They're about the same size, and they can carry a lot of Phosgene, the retardant that's orange or red, depending on how you look at it, that is being dropped just below the fire lines to prevent it from going in another direction. It's like they're containing these flames with the fire retardant. So we're about 14 minutes away from our next live shot on News Channel 3. And I'm just hoping to show you some... Henry, I'm hearing something that's like a helicopter or something. I hear some air, something in there.
The lead plane.
That is the lead plane?
You can tell because of the pitch of the...
So folks on YouTube, one more airdrop then, or one more Phosgene drop.
I mean, he's over the transmitter on the left.
On the other side.
Now he's coming around.
Coming to get out of the way.
You can see him. I can try and push in, but really far. He's up there. There he is.
You have a good eye, because I can't see it. But I hear it.
He's in the smoke. He's just flying over.
Oh, yeah.
He's
If you're just tuning in on Periscope or YouTube, we're waiting for a plane to do a FOSS check drop. You can sort of hear them coming closer. Unless it's heading to the airport in Santa Barbara.
Who is?
I don't know. They could just be a regular plane.
The prop plane.
Could be someone mapping the fire.
That's possible. We usually do that with a helicopter.
Oh, they do? So Alan just took our live shot, and he was talking about how there's not a lot of wind. You can tell by looking at the trees and how the smoke is going straight up. But just down on the other side of that smoke is Cachuma Lake, or just down below from that smoke. So we are about 12 minutes from going live at 6:30 for KYT.
Well, fortunately, there's not a lot of activity right now.
Nope. Should I call and make sure they got our soundbite?
No, Ryder told me they did.
Oh,
I sent
super.
them more VO, but they're just going to use what they used earlier. But I sent them the second round of drops that we just got.
Okay.
That's in FileZilla, so it's
I
there
think
if they want it. But I'm sure the people at home would like to see it. But
I know. I just thought
editing, they may not be able to get it on time. But
I'm hearing planes. They could just be on the other side of that smoke. So, Henry, just for the people that are watching on Periscope, right on the other side of that ridge, if you go drop down, you're at Cachuma Lake. And then right up is the fire.
Right on the other side of that would
So
be
this one with this
Camp
brownish.
Whittier,
Okay.
Circle V and Rancho Alegre, and then down below on the other side of the 154 is the lake. Yes.
Okay. And then, oh, someone's calling.
My phone.
And the only part that looked really nice was the Cachuma Lake Recreation Area, but it is a staging area for PG&E with a whole lot of power poles because they have to repair at least 30 poles. Oh, we're hearing that CNN is grabbing these live shots, so we're going to hold this shot and I'm going to stay out of the picture. Well, that's nice. Okay. And we are 10 minutes away from our live shot. Yeah.
People who are joining us on CNN.
Welcome, CNN. If you're just watching, we're watching the Whittier Fire, and there was an aerial assault on the western flank with a lot, including a DC-10 and an MD-87, and we're hoping to make more run with the FOSS check drop that they're picking up in Santa Maria. They have a lead plane that usually gives them away. You can tell where they have dropped because the land is sort of a bright orangey red.
I hear something coming. That sunset, and it's going to be harsh on the picture here, but as soon as I see it, I'll put it up on the air. kind of confusing because the Santa Barbara Airport is just to our southeast.
Right, but that's not where they do the pickups.
But the weather patterns are, I mean, the aerial patterns are, they're kind of crossing over a little bit.
So the Santa Maria Airport's always been the spot for the FOS check.
I think it's a bigger airport.
And it does help for both firefights, the Alamo and the Whittier, which is named after Whittier Campground, which is the origin of the fire around 2 o'clock on Saturday, the 8th of July. Well, they usually name the fire near a road or near an area where it started. They just don't know how it started. At least they're not divulging what they do know just yet, but they are saying that they evacuated that area and closed the 154 around 3 o'clock on Saturday. And they've been fighting this fire ever since. There are about 1,100 firefighters, and here comes one of the planes.
He's coming, it's a DC-10, and he's coming, see if I can get him. He's out there. He's there somewhere. There he is. We'll probably make
A turn right there.
preliminary run
Oops.
over the area, and then he'll swing back down and around again, and then he'll drop.
And we're live in about 6 minutes, so maybe we'll be able to show it to our viewers on
It might
KYT
take
Live.
about that long for him to drop. Now, that's the only one I see, but there should be another one coming along pretty soon. But we'll keep an eye on him. It's getting late in the day, so I'm not sure how many more times they'll be back up.
But you're thinking it's going to turn there and go where those smoke
He's
is.
going to come.
Just run right over the tops of that smoke.
Probably going to run right between those two peaks with the antennas on them.
Yep.
And drop right in that range, or he's going to come right in front of us and drop right across that line. Just depends. You can see him disappearing over the back there. He's kind of making a, should make a turn pretty soon. We've got another one coming in too somewhere. Here.
The pilots must be liking this weather because it is not too windy.
Yeah, so he's banking now.
We'll see him
somewhere deep
on the
over
other side of
San
that
Ynez
mountain range.
Mountains. And he's going to come right over the top of that ridge. When he comes around that peak, I'll try and zoom in and get him. He's making his... They usually make a preliminary drop, or a preliminary run, or where they're going to drop.
And we're just 4 minutes out from our live shot, so that'd be great. But you never know. So this could be the DC-10 or the MD-87. I know the DC-10 is orange, okay, and white.
It's too big to be...
The other one's smaller, the jet. Huh, I hear it, but I don't see it.
There he is. Just over the top of that ridge. In that notch. There he is. So he just disappeared around behind the mountain. See if I can gauge him about right. And my gut tells me he's going to come right through there.
Well, you can tell they're not going to waste that FOS check. They're going to really make sure they drop it where they want to drop it. And it could be on the other side of that ridge.
No, they're
You think they're just planning? I see something right above. Do you see it flying in the smoke over there?
Where?
Yes, we are just on a ridge across from the Whittier.
Right over that slot.
I'm going to stay out of the frame, though, so Henry can get a drop. Okay.
I see him, but I can't.
Great.
This is the smoke.
The FOS check is right in the smoke, but we might see the drop.
There he is. I see him.
There it is. It's a spectacular sight, actually. I'll try to take a picture of it. And now we're hearing wildlife.
That's coyotes.
Wow, if you're just joining us on Periscoper, we've got some coyotes, and we have a plane that just did a really amazing FOS check drop, an air tanker, a DC-10, and we're going to go live very shortly, and I'm just going to get in place for our KUYT viewers. That was unusual to hear the wildlife just like that.
Okay, let's get
Because the sun is lower, you don't see the red as much. The market leaves right below that fire line, but they were right in the thick of the smoke behind me.
Yeah, he didn't even make a preliminary drop. He just came in and dropped it. So I've got a feeling they're running out of time.
They're trying to beat the sunset, but there's still time.
They're
If it's
trying to put
6:30,
as much down as
they have 2 hours of time.
Before they run out of light. So I think
Wow,
they're
it
just
sure
coming
made a
in and
difference.
pounding it.
There's less smoke
Yeah.
now.
But he right over the top of that ridge, dropped down, and just it was a straight-on shot.
It was beautiful.
Cool. Yeah.
Yes. Sure. No worries. I'm moving for our live shot. A producer saying, "Get out of the way." Okay, I'm allowed to come back over here. The producers will say we're ready to go. Okay.
You in focus. There's you. I think we're ready. Gain up a little. It's a little in your face. Good to go.
We are watching the aerial assault. We just saw a magnificent one. A DC-10 just flew over. There was about a 40-minute lull before this drop, and it dropped right under the smoke behind me. We are expecting possibly another one before the sun sets. These planes, including an MD-87, have been doing an aerial assault on the western part of this fire all afternoon, and they're picking up a retardant called FOS check over in Santa Maria and then flying back around. And they usually have a lead plane, and they definitely leave their mark. And we saw a lot of people just pulling their cars over on Winchester Canyon or in areas of Goleta, just trying to stop and watch it because it's such a sight to see. Some people thought it was rather scary, but other people just thought it was magnificent, just showing these amazing firefighters that can fight this Whittier fire from the air. Here's what one of them said. She was also saying that she actually worked in the airlines, and she just, whenever she sees planes like this, she wants to stop and watch. And there were a lot of people out trying to take pictures of what's going on here. But as Alan was saying, you don't see trees moving right now. The smoke is going up, so weather is cooperating for this aerial assault, and they are really trying to do as much as they can before the sun sets. Reporting live out here in Santa Barbara County, Tracy Lair, News Channel 3. Thank you. So if we're still on Periscope and YouTube, we hope to show you one more airdrop. There's usually two planes, two 2 tankers, a jet. We even saw some helicopters earlier doing water drops. I hear some planes. You hear, those are just small planes to the left? I definitely hear something. And I know we have this live shot for...
Not one coming, but it's pretty far out there.
Okay, we might be able to show them one more before our window closes at 6:40. So we have about 7 minutes.
It's coming over the northern point of the mountains there.
Like Broadcast Peak, where you see those.
No, he's actually way out there. See if I can point him out. It's going to be difficult because of the sun, but I think I can get a shot of him. He is there.
All right.
And definitely a smaller plane.
I'm going to try to take phone video if it ever gets this way. In case you're watching on Periscope, we're looking at the Whittier Fire. This is a live shot above the San Ynez Mountains, above Cachuma Lake. And they've been doing an aerial assault all afternoon. You have to be patient, though, to see the planes.
It's a jet, but another branch on that tree.
We have a truck coming this way. I think a worker's on this road. We might have to move.
We're going to move this one.
We have 5 more minutes for our window.
Like the MD-80.
There it is. We're going to get another one, we hope. We have our windows for 5 more minutes, so I think we're going to get another one. Wow, there's 2 planes now up there. I think it's just surveying it.
Yeah. You might be looking, see where he's going to drop. Actually a pretty big son of a gun.
Yeah.
We'll get him when he comes back around. Another plane in front of him, smaller plane.
So that'd be the lead plane, huh? Boy, they make a big circle. Now it's going back. Unless it's the one that already dropped.
No, he's gonna
Do
drop.
something.
He's gonna come across that ridge. He's gonna drop. He'll start his run here pretty soon.
If you're watching on Periscope, we have like 3 more minutes. We hope to show you one more drop. But there is a big air tanker flying towards the Whittier Flames. And this has been happening all afternoon because these are areas where firefighters have a hard time getting into.
Here he comes.
Is he behind that ridge?
Oh, he's right in front of it. There he goes. He dropped right behind that smoke. It's a pretty good shot.
Yep.
You can actually see where the boss chick's at.
And we just made it in our window. If they're still joining us on Periscope and YouTube, that was the second drop in like 15 minutes. There's been a DC-10 and an MD-87 flying this part of the Whittier Fire, just doing the best they can to snuff out those hot spots before nighttime. And now it's probably heading back to the Santa Maria Airport area. So we will say goodbye for now. We'll keep updating you online with the Whittier Fire. Thanks for joining us.